really good time.
There was a beautiful moment. We were at the Dark Horse booth. They politely hosted as we had a bunch of interviews, and Dave told that and the Witch of the Wilds, and the interviewer just kind of stopped for a moment, like literally smoke coming out of his ear.
You got a little time. He's like,
hold on. Stop the camera. I need to deal with this. It was good times. In addition as well, I don't know if you guys have been following it at all, but Dawn of the Seeker is coming up this March. They're co-produced by Funimation and is an anime treatment of the Dragon Age world. And they'll be dealing with Cassandra, the character who's interrogating Varric all the way through DA2, and diving into her backstory. So you get to see some early days there, quite a bit of chantry politics as well, and I'm told at some point there might be a dragon punched in the face.
Yes!
I consider that to be the pinnacle of artistic expression. So then, when we look at it, of course, there are games. We work on those quite diligently, and a lot of people are wondering, so what is next for Dragon Age? And there's a few kind of hot topics. Combat certainly pops up a lot, and I think the reason it pops up is because, with Origins, things were very paced, I will say, and there's some concern that due to the increased speed and maybe a bit of rogue acrobatics that we're heading this direction. And I'm here to tell you that's an extrapolation from the 2 points of data. Where we're heading is much more like this. So I want you to have a plan, and I want you to be able to execute on it quickly, Lombardi style.
Lombardi style.
Preparation is going to be absolutely key. You're going to want to have your party built. You're going to want to have your abilities picked. You're going to want to have a strategy going in. You're going to want to make sure you're worried about positioning. Expect this to take a much stronger part of future Dragon Age titles. Where am I on the battlefield? It's not just going to be a square anymore. Look for elevation, look for choke points, look for strategic advantages. And teamwork. Party is not going away. This is, to my mind, kind of quintessential to the Dragon Age experience. So having your group work together is going to be absolutely important. In fact, even further than the cross-class combos we introduced in DA2. I just like that image. It pretty much defines how combat should look in my mind. There should be small birds. It's very John. It's called Elven Cruelty. I love that. I love it. Anyway. Some other people as well have asked questions about scope. I mean, obviously, with Dragon Age Origins, we had a pretty big game, and we have an even bigger map. But that's a pretty big chunk of country. And then, you could argue DA2 took place in a somewhat smaller environment. And yeah, again, it's a more personal story. But I know what people are looking for, and just to give you a bit of a teaser, in the future, we could do this. People would be expecting this, but I'm thinking this.
No.
If I wasn't thinking this, that reaction would have made me. So, well, here's the actually there's a very pertinent point. This does not mean you will cover every square inch of this. We're not going to wide open, fully contiguous world. That isn't our intent. We want to make sure you visit the most interesting parts of the entire south of this area. All right? And customization comes up a lot. There was some concern over, losing some of the customization for the followers, that kind of thing. And I mean, there's distinct advantages to not having your entire party in the same suit of armor. It's good if you were leading an army, but that isn't usually what we're doing. And I mean, the distinct characters mean, of course, that you get some really cool fan participation. I mean, look around the room right now. There's a large number of people that that have really bought into this and think it's just badass. I caught this one yesterday.
Yeah!
I think we have an Isabel in the room, perhaps. Yes. Taken from PAX. So I mean, this is really cool for us, and you guys have a lot of fun doing it. I think it's nice when you can have a character you can identify all the way around, but we don't want to lose the sense of being able to control the stats of customization. I mean, that's really a fundamental issue of player agency. And as players, you guys want to be in charge of your game. I understand that. So, as much as community manager Chris Priestley actually smiles when he's surrounded by attractive women and
They were an awesome group.
I think in the future, if you were looking at a follower, you'd expect something a little more like this. Still having full control over the stats and the equipment. If you're missing it, that's the important bit right there. But also them having their own unique looks, something you can hang your hat on. Probably more than one. That's our long-term plan. So a nice balance, I think, between having awesome cosplay. Come on, a round of applause for the cosplay.
Yeah! You approve.
And keeping you in the driver's seat as a player. I think that's really important. And then here's the biggie, consequence. I made a choice, what's going to happen as a result. So I can't get into details, of course, it would be a massive spoiler town, but in the future we kind of have a running rule in the same way that, you know, when we talk about combat these days, as much as pushing a button sometimes makes awesome thing happens, we more tend to think about encounters, not fights. That's kind of been our watchword. In this case, if I'm making a choice, I want it to come bite me in the ass later. That's pretty much our watchword for the future. And here's kind of my pledge to you guys, you know, coming from the whole dev team. You're going to go to exotic places. You're going to meet interesting people and make friends and enemies. And then you're going to have to face the consequences. And that's what's coming up next for Dragon Age.
Yeah!
So that concludes the prepared part of our evening. If we have questions, now's the time.
There's a microphone.
Yes, right in the middle.
Hi, I just want to say I love all of your work. BioWare